Welcome back, everyone, to the Last Word podcast. As always, my name is Jay.
And I'm Rabbit.
And let's get into it.
All right, well, we have some drama for everyone.
Well, before that, I just want to thank everyone, as always, for your support. Had some positive feedback on the last episode, and I just thank you so much. I discover when we start doing this and we start talking about things, how many people are going through or have gone through similar things, and how meaningful it is and how much it connects. And that was, kind of the whole point of this. And so I'm very proud that that's happening and that's a thing. And I'm happy that you guys let us know. I appreciate it very much.
Yeah, me too. It's nice. It's nice to hear that.
Yeah.
It's nice to know we're making a little bit of difference in a few people's lives, or at least things that people can relate to.
Yep. So thank you all for that. As always, thank you for also liking, commenting, subscribing, following, all that stuff. If you haven't already, please make sure to follow us on Instagram at Last Word Podcast and on Twitter at Last Word LLC. Of course, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can email us at lastwordapparel@gmail.com.
We're getting really professional with it now.
Yep. And thank you.
So get used to that intro every time.
Every time.
Every single time.
Every time.
And now.
Now let's get into the drama.
And we have drama, heartbreak, suspense,
intrigue.
Yeah, so I guess, I'll just start telling you guys what happened and why it's significant, and then a little PSA for all you men out there lurking online. But no, so I think maybe like 3 podcasts ago, kind of a while ago, I had just kind of really... I didn't give much detail, but I think I had just mentioned that I was talking to a friend, and not my friend Ray, like that's again completely separate, but just that I had another person in my life that I was getting closer to, and I thought at that time it was gonna turn into something. I liked him, I thought he liked me. We had been talking for like more than a month. I thought we were getting really close. So, and this happened, and I didn't want to talk about it on the podcast when it first happened, just because we were still friends when it happened. Like, I told Jay about it. I told our friend Joseph, who's been on the podcast, and you guys both kind of gave me really good advice, and I took that advice, and it was good. So, what had originally happened is, like I said, like we were getting really close. We were texting just about every day. Sharing pictures of each other, of the things that we're doing, our dogs, just all this stuff. And we're just relating to each other. Being
friends all around.
Right? Yeah. And then, for me at least, and I didn't know how he felt. Again, like I thought that he kind of liked me in that way. So for me, I kind of got to a point where I was like, maybe there's something here in the future. I'm not ready to rush into a relationship, and what's kind of... What the fuck? Lock the top one too.
Oh God. Okay. Sorry everyone if there was a weird cut in between there. Our front door just opened for no reason. By itself.
Oh great. Well, we're gonna have to deal with that at some point. Oh, that scared the shit out of me.
That was so fucked up. Okay.
I'm glad Chief didn't just run out the door. Oh my God.
Okay.
Wait, is the wind blowing that hard? Like, I don't understand how it opened by
so.
itself.
That's the thing. I don't think it is.
Oh, what the fuck? Anyway, back to what I was saying before. I don't know. Like, I got this kind of like, I don't know, like feeling that maybe in the future him and I could be something. But I'm not ready to jump into a relationship. And I think what I was starting to say earlier is I don't think I'll ever be ready for a relationship until I meet that person. So it's weird because it could be, 6 months from now, it could be years from now. But I don't think that I'll be, quote, ready until it happens, if it ever happens. And of course, you and I have talked personally about that. But he was the first person, like the first guy after Kenneth that I thought, about, possibly having a future relationship with. And so you and I were kind of like going back and forth, like, does this friend like me? Like, I don't know if he does. Maybe he's just being nice. And, he just seems like a really nice guy. Like, he's just being friendly.
Yeah. And that's always hard with when you like people or that whole thing. Because, that's always the question. Like, are they just nice? Are they nice as friends?
Yeah.
Are they nice as friends and more?
Yeah.
And that sucks.
Well, and there would have been nothing wrong with me and this, this person staying just friends.
But just knowing is nice.
Just knowing is nice, but and that's the thing. There's kind of a huge difference of why I can keep things strictly platonic with Ray, but why I had interest in, my other friends.
Well, they're two different people.
Different people. And that's kind of the point is, like, I'm not suddenly in love with any person that talks to me or any person that I'm friends with.
You're not?
No.
That makes one of us. I'm like a dog. I see anyone and I'm like, hi.
Hi.
I want to be your friend. Hi.
I love you.
I love you. Hi. Yeah, that's...
But for me,
for
me, it's not like that. I'm kind of like a cat in that sense, where like you gotta earn my trust, and even if I jump up on your lap and like purr and like need your leg, I still might bite the shit out of you and claw your face. That's a bad analogy.
No, that for me honestly makes sense. It's not a bad analogy. That makes a lot of sense.
But so like whatever. I thought me and this friend were getting close and closer than just normal friends. Like we had been friends, and I think again I said on that podcast for like a year and a half before I met Kenneth, and then Kenneth and I were together a year, and we hadn't talked much at all. Like maybe once every 3 months or so, or like once every 4 months. Uh-huh. And then it wasn't until like those last 2 months that, or less like maybe month that Kenneth and I were still together that this friend and I reconnected. And then of course, after the breakup, then we started connecting more. So I thought we were getting close, and I thought that was a good thing. And I was actually hopeful about it. Like for the first time, I felt like I could be happy without Kenneth. There is a future. There is a life without him. Mm-hmm. And then that got crushed. And it kind of sucks because, like I said, I didn't want to talk about it on the podcast when it happened because I still trying to be friends with this person. This person was still, I think, and I don't know if he ever finished it, and that's one of the questions, but he had started listening to the podcast, so, like, I didn't want to, like...
Just in case you didn't want to say...
Yeah. So we had started talking about... being more than friends. And this is a personal conversation about intimacy, and I don't want to get into all of it just because I want to keep a few surprises in there.
Oh, yeah,
no, I want to keep them guessing.
We'll save a few things for later.
Exactly. And we were talking about this, and we were having, an adult conversation. Or wait, no. Okay, wait, no. I have to go back more.
What?
So he texted me kind of late at night, like, I guess apparently guys do.
Oh.
Yeah, so I have to tell this part before I tell that part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he texted me kind of late at night, and he was like, hey, Rabbit, like, what's up? What are you doing? And he was being extra, like, he seemed to be putting some effort in there. And then randomly he was like, well, like, I just wanted to tell you, I think you're attractive.
Not bad.
Not bad. And at first, I was kind of like giddy about it, like a person would, because this finally put out any question that you and I had. Like, oh, he likes me.
Oh, then he definitely likes me. Like, that was your answer. You know, like, throughout all the questions, is he just being nice? Is he just being nice as a friend? Him letting you know, straight up saying, hey, I think you're very attractive. There's an answer right there.
Yeah, like, all right, awesome. Like, oh, we finally know that.
Kind of, I don't want to say weird, but a little forward. I don't know. But
I appreciated it.
Right.
That he finally told me. And in my head, before the rest of the text came, yeah, I mean, I thought that, like, well, you know, here it is. I can't wait to have this conversation with him. There's no question. I really appreciated that he took that stance to tell me that he likes me and that he thinks I'm attractive. And I was just like, okay, yeah, like, wait a second, I'm a little speechless, like, I can't reply. And I was, you know, waiting, I was talking to you about it, because again, I was happy, I was excited.
I know, I was like, I remember you telling me, I was like, dang, okay, cool, you know, nice, good job.
I'm still not ready, and I was prepared to tell him, you know, the whole little spiel, like, I'm not ready for a relationship, but I'd love to talk about it.
Yeah.
And what that could mean. And then, you know, I think I just told him, like, oh, well, that's great, because I have a crush on you. Like, I really like you, too.
Aww.
And then he was like, and, like, this was his immediate response. He was like, oh, well, guess what? Like, I have something to tell you. And I didn't know what he was going to tell me, but I got this weird feeling after that.
Yeah, like, what?
Yeah, and he, immediate text back was like, I'm jerking to you right now.
God damn it. Oh, I gotta take my glasses off for that.
That was too much. That was too much for Jay.
Just straight up.
Yep, just no lead
like,
into
after
it.
telling you, hey, I think you're really attractive, guess what? I'm jerking to you right now.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. And now we had not discussed anything remotely close to that. Like, seriously, we've been having conversations about tarot cards, our dogs, and motorcycles.
Friend getting to know someone conversations.
Yeah.
Nothing sexual.
Nope.
Especially not along those lines, and so forward.
Like,
abrasive.
my self-esteem right that second crushed.
Yeah, that's
immediately.
That's
and we kind of like we kind of like went back and forth for a minute. I told him, like, oh, well, because he asked me to, quote, help him with it, which, again,
of course,
you know, kind of a dick thing to ask someone.
You gave him an inch and he took 1,000 miles.
Yeah. And, like, we went back and forth for a bit. I told him, like, oh, well, that... Yeah. And I didn't really want to let on how hurt I was and how kind of violating that is.
Maybe you should have. You didn't say anything at that point?
Not really. I told him, well, that's really flattering, but I just can't be in that kind of situation with you right now. Like, it wouldn't be fair to you. It's not fair to me. It's not healthy. And he was like, oh, okay, I understand. And I was just like, yeah, well, you know, and I tried to make a joke, like, well, at least someone wants to jerk to my pictures. And
oh, don't.
Yeah, like, I was just trying to be funny.
I get it.
Know,
I mean, especially in that moment, you should have just been like, oh, okay, well, that's flattering, but that's disgusting. Oh, that's nice, but what the fuck is your problem?
Yeah, and I probably should have, and, like, what I'll talk about later will definitely, like...
We'll touch on this. We'll go back to this.
So, like, yeah, I don't know. I just told him, like, well, you know, it's flattering. Tried to make a joke, tried to bridge this weird gap, and he almost tried to continue with it. He was like, okay, well, are you sure we couldn't do, like, a friends with benefits type thing? Like... with no romance attached to it, and I'm just like, no.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what you want to hear right after that.
Like, okay, like, no feelings,
like,
but...
dude, I already, as politely as I could, I told you no.
Yeah.
And then so... he keeps it going.
Yeah, he tried to keep it going. Again, I told him, like, no. Like, I'm not into that right now. God. I don't want that. And... Well,
if that didn't hurt your self-esteem already, then that second thing he said was even worse.
10 times worse. And I told him that, like, because I think he knew at that point that he hurt my feelings.
Yeah. And
and then eventually, like, I told him, like, I'm kind of hurt by by that, and he was very apologetic in the moment. You know, he like said sorry 3 times, and I just told him like, no, like, you know, it's fine, like, it's okay, you know, I'm just a little hurt,
right.
Like, it's just weird. And he even texted me the next day, and he continued to apologize, although we didn't talk anymore that day. And for me, of course, you know, really in this moment, it took me immediately back to Kenneth. And I think at this point, you know, it's been like 4 months. Almost everything takes me back to Kenneth. But especially in this moment, you know, my first kind of thoughts were like, Kenneth kind of left me to the wolves. You know, this is kind of, in a weird way, like what Kenneth like wanted. He wanted us to both be in shitty positions and getting rejected, and like our self-esteem is like crushed.
If it wasn't something he wanted, I mean, maybe it was something he didn't think about, but it was definitely a reaction or cause and effect. It was definitely an effect of this.
Yeah. And yeah, maybe he didn't know, but he had to have known. Because, and like I told you, and I think even to a point, like I had talked to Ray about it at some point, you know, Kenneth wouldn't have stood for it. Like, I wouldn't have been in that position to be so close with a friend like that.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the weird thing, is I wasn't close with him like that. Again, we were talking about motorcycles and dogs and all that kind of shit. But had Kenneth known about that, he would have been ridiculously protective, and he would have been so pissed.
Well, yeah, I think that's, of course, I think anyone should have been, and I remember when you telling me, I kind of felt the same as well. I was like, really? You know?
Yeah.
But he apologized a lot, and I remember my reaction to it afterwards. I was like, I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
I was like, you know, guys are the worst.
And horny guys.
Men are the worst. A horny man is even worse than that.
Yeah.
You know, and they do a lot of stupid things, and they say a lot of stupid things, and it's no excuse, but maybe in that mindset, I mean, men get insane when they're horny.
Like their brains just
if they're jerking off, or they need a jerk off, or they haven't jerked off in a while, like, they get insane. You know what I mean? And
Dr. Drew talked about it.
Yeah, it's scientifically proven, but it's no excuse. It really isn't, to act like an asshole.
No. And at the time, I didn't think he was.
Right.
Now,
well, that's what I was saying. Like, I at that moment, you know, I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. I was like, you know, it's no excuse, but maybe he was just in that mood, and he did something stupid. He was very apologetic after. You know, that's a good sign. He didn't get angry or anything like that. I was like, maybe it was just that he kind of fucked up. It wasn't a thing.
Yeah, and we even sought advice from, you know, our friend Joseph, and he kind of said the same thing. It's like, give him the benefit of the doubt in this one, but, like, if he does it again, then you know.
Yeah.
And Joe, of course, said it more flamboyantly, and, you know, I think he called me queen at some point when he was giving me this advice.
He should have.
Yeah, I am. But, but anyway, no, and that's what I did. You know, after he apologized the next day, I left him alone for a couple of days. I think like 3. I didn't say anything to him because I wanted to kind of give him space and myself space. And in that time, like, I kind of maybe, like, I came around a little bit to maybe see, like, the other side of a friends with benefits type situation. And then, like, I messaged him. This was in the beginning. This is when we were starting our first podcast. Like, I think our first podcast was due to come out in a couple of days. So I just wanted to update him because he wanted to listen to it. It's part of us being friends. I was sharing with him, you know, what I was doing, and the podcast was it. And so, like, I messaged him, and we continued talking like nothing happened. It was never mentioned again, and for, like, 2-3 weeks, we were like best friends again. We were sharing our favorite movies, our favorite shows, music, and it kind of went back to normal. And then, now this is the part in the beginning that I started to tell, but, like, I had to back up a little bit.
Okay.
So, like, we started having a private conversation, and again, no details yet. Like, maybe we'll get there at some point.
It could be a whole episode.
It could be a whole episode. My life can be episode
No,
after
not
episode.
well. Yes,
Could be a whole series.
This specific thing about your life. But anyway.
Well, they've heard. Our listeners have heard it before, but I'm not ready to give a whole lot of details just because, it's a little weird. I'm weird. But we were having a conversation like that, and basically it kind of revolved around two things. Being exclusive and being, in a committed relationship, or being friends with benefits. Regardless of the details in between or what we were actually talking about, that's what it came down to. And like I said, my side of it, I was leaning towards understanding more the friends with benefits and almost starting to be okay with it. And maybe trying it out, no romance, but at least being able to be intimate with another person.
And was that the point for you for that? What made you want to do that? Why were you this might not be a bad idea? Was it
just to give it a try? Maybe I'm being too particular in what I want in another partner. Or in my partners. I don't know. So that was my stance, and kind of coming around to the idea, and maybe I could try this out. Maybe this could be a thing. But I kind of, during the conversation, I told him, but I don't want to be friends with benefits forever.
Right.
I want a relationship with someone. I want to be with someone like that, because that's kind of the whole point. And, of course, you and I have also talked privately about it. That, we want long-lasting, loving relationships. We don't just want hookups.
Yeah.
If we wanted that, we would change the definition, and we would make it
we wouldn't really, I guess, be polyamorous at that point, or where it'd be a different kind.
Yeah,
but for
a different
both of
tier.
us, and for me too, it's this whole thing was never the point. It was oh, cool, I get to do whatever I want now.
Yeah, we get to just have random hookups.
Now I get to fall in love again and be with someone someday, one day, hopefully soon.
And
I'm sorry. Maybe, I don't know.
We'll see someday when we're really old.
Thanks.
It's too late. Kidding. But his response was just no, I don't want that. I want strictly friends with benefits, because I don't want to be in a committed relationship. I don't want anything exclusive. And from there, again, I kind of get my feelings hurt, because I kind of put myself out there, willing to kind of accept a relationship.
In some way, meeting him halfway almost.
Yeah.
Which is...
Yeah, I'm willing to try this for you.
Yeah.
But eventually, I also, want you to try it my way, too. And that's all he told me. And then even in the end, he kind of got on a weird level talking about, again, and I'm not going to mention this just because... I'm not on bad terms with him, but I don't want to be. But I'm also not friends with him anymore. But he had a lot going on in his personal life, and he had a lot of stuff that happened in the past, losing a bunch of family members. And, he just told me, it's I feel like I can't connect emotionally with anybody except my dog. And... that, to me, of course, that triggered me again, just the first conversation or the first time he hurt my feelings.
Well, because at some point it's well, then why are you even talking to me this much?
Yeah. Why are you connecting with me?
Why did you let it get this far then?
Yeah. And how are you connecting with me? Are you a robot?
Right.
Are your feelings robotic?
There's been a lie the whole time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I sure felt something, and I know, I'm,
even
emotional.
In terms of a friend, it's so what the hell does that mean? Do you, you know what I mean? Can you even have friends at that point?
Yeah.
You're just going through the motions? If so, then you got shit to work on.
Yeah. And he said, in the end of it, he said that, and it was another triggering conversation for me, because, again, I went to fucking Kenneth, and, I went back to my thoughts and feelings about Kenneth. And I was I can't fix another person. I can't even attempt to fix another person. It's not my job. No. And I'm just trying to fix myself right now.
Right.
It's not my job. So, again, we stopped talking for, another, week or so. And I messaged him again, and I told him, hey, so... Or maybe not a week. I think it was just another couple of days. But I kind of told him the same thing. I was just well, that was kind of triggering for me. But... it's okay. I still want to talk. I still want to be friends. And like, friends instill the hopes that maybe we can kind of...
Maybe you'll get your shit together, and at some point, like, it'll be
and,
something.
like, we'll stay close.
Because it's not like you were in a rush to be in a relationship anyway at that point.
No. And so, and he was like, well, okay, like, I want that too. And I keep talking, and we didn't talk for a few days. He tried to message me once more, and it was the day that we were out with Joseph, so I couldn't get back to him all the way. But I was replying like I usually do, and then he stopped talking to me. And that was, I want to say, the beginning of October.
Okay.
And I never heard from him again.
It's been about a month.
Yeah, so it's been about a month. You and I have been busy. I'm trying to work on the podcast. You know, we have, you know, always life. Kenneth. Yeah, always Kenneth, always life.
I'll be honest, guys. Life is a shit show right now.
Well, you know, we're going through some financial stuff. Like, it was hard to, like, maintain what we have, much less go that extra mile for another friend. You know, like, we'll do that with Joseph because, of course, like, we're supportive and we help each other and we're good for each other. But right this second, I can't go there for my friend because he's not going there for me.
Right.
So it's just like, you know, and he could have messaged me at any time. Yeah. Like, any time, like he usually does. He never did.
Yeah, you want that, the mutualness or whatever it is, mutuality. You want the mutual, you know, respect that you're going to be there as much as he's there, and you're going to talk to him. He's going to talk to you as much as you talk to him. Back and forth. You say hi one day, he says hi the next. Just like this flow. Yeah. This balance.
Yeah, exactly. And he never did that.
Right.
So now, I think it's been like 2 weeks? A week and a half?
No.
How long has it been?
A few days.
I don't think it's been a few days.
Since you saw it?
Yeah.
It's been a few days.
Okay, well, I guess it's been a few days, but he posted it like, let me see, I think he posted it on the 3rd. Yeah, so on the 3rd of November, like, I saw a post on Instagram, because we're Instagram friends, and he usually likes just about every picture that I post, because there is a difference for people who follow us on Instagram of the pictures we take and how we upload them. But it's cool, like, we have a business.
We have our own styles.
Yeah, we have our own styles. Eventually, we might have to get our own Instagrams.
Yep, probably.
But, you know, it's just like, we share an Instagram, but he always, you know, has liked a lot of the things that I post.
Gotta keep my DMs open. Wink.
Oh my god.
Sorry. Continue.
I am divorcing Jay. Live on the podcast.
This just in. We're getting a divorce.
No, we're not. But anyway.
Welcome to the Last Word podcast. Today we are dividing our things between each other to see who gets what in the divorce.
And you guys are going to get to listen to all of it. We're not doing that.
Anyway, back to it. Sorry.
So I guess a few days ago, but he had posted it like a week and a half ago. He posted a while ago. I noticed like I hadn't seen very much activity from him, and I kind of wondered what he was up to and what he had been doing. And, you know, so I just went to his Instagram and I checked it out, and he had, and get ready for this, guys. He had a post about him and his woman. And at first, like, I thought it was kind of funny because I thought maybe he meant his motorcycle. Because we had this, like, little...
Or his dog or something?
Yeah, because, like, well, we had this little inside joke that he has a romantic relationship with his bike because he loves his motorcycle so much. Okay. And I laughed at it because I thought that's what he meant.
Well, yeah, that would be funny. Yeah.
But it turns out it's him and his girlfriend.
Are you serious?
Dun, dun, dun.
Wow.
So we haven't spoken in a month just because, you know, just normal life, being busy, all the shit that we're going through.
And admittedly, it was left at an awkward place.
Yeah, like kind of just giving it space as well.
Right. But no reason you or he couldn't have kept talking and said stuff. And
well, I kind of feel at that point it was on him. It was on him to talk to me. But he has a girlfriend now And of course that left me with so many goddamn questions. It's just like of course, like I was fucking hurt by it. I was so hurt because, you know, this person that I had thought like we were getting closer, regardless of, you know, kind of what happened, like letting it go all that time, still just wanting to be friends with him, wanting to be close with him. Suddenly he has a girlfriend. One of my first questions, it's like, I really hope that he wasn't with her the entire time.
Like if there was some type of overlap.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like, because that would make, because like for us, polyamory is not cheating.
Right.
And for him to do that, like that's a scumbag thing to do.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, again, like I don't know what kind of relationship they have, if maybe they're into that kind of thing.
Okay. I mean, that brings up so many things because it's like, yeah, what if he was with her, but was in that moment horny and you were there? You know what I mean? Which is horrible.
It still would have been. One of my things is like, well, I'm really glad that I saw this now and I wasn't engaging in some kind of friends with benefits relationship with him and then found that out.
I feel like either way, even if there was no overlap, that's pretty shitty.
Well, yeah, because I don't understand. If there's no overlap, so then he met her or knew her or was already, like, friends with her. And then within the last month, then they started dating.
But literally a month.
After he tells me he doesn't want to be exclusive.
Yeah.
He doesn't
a
want
month from him telling you, I don't want anything committed or exclusive. In that month, he gets in a relationship.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's pretty quick.
Yep.
That's... Especially from going to, I can't connect with anyone except my dog.
Yeah.
I don't want anything exclusive to look at me and my woman.
Yeah. But I'm going to jerk it to your pictures a month before that. Month and a half before that.
Yep. There's layers.
So.
This is a fucked up onion.
I love onions, but oh my God. So. You know, at first, you know, of course, like we've talked about my mental health, we've talked about my flaws, talked about stuff that, you know, has affected relationships, friendships, family members in the past. My first reaction was like, you know what, I'm gonna fucking confront him. I'm gonna call him out for all of this bullshit, and I want him basically, and you know, I don't know how everyone else thinks. But for me, I was pushed to the point where I want to fuck with him so bad that he blocks me.
Wow, that's some intense feelings.
That was my first like impulsive like thought about the whole thing. And then I was thinking, and you know what? Once I do that, I'm gonna screenshot everything that he sent me because I still have our text because like I kept them all.
Yeah, you never delete your texts ever.
No, I don't. I don't want to.
I keep a lot of mine for the people I like.
Not me.
Yes.
He deletes mine.
No, they're here.
Where? Let me see.
I have you right here.
How long? Oh, goodness. Okay. Oh.
Pretty good, right?
No. That was like 2 pages. Whatever. Anyway. Well, anyway, my point was that, yeah, like, I want to screenshot all of these and send her a message. So send the girlfriend a message saying, you know, like, hey, I just wanted to make sure that there was no overlap. You know, your boyfriend had been talking to me at such and such a time. You can see the times and the dates on these.
Wow.
You know, like, just to make sure there's no overlap. Like, all right, have a nice day. The most bitchy, petty thing to do in the world. Mm-hmm. And at the moment that I said that, the moment that like, thought came out of my head, and, you know, I was sitting there thinking about, like, you know what? No, I don't want to do anything. You know, I want to talk about it in the podcast in a healthy way. I want to take him off of our Instagram, delete his texts and his numbers, and move on. Because regardless of what happened or what his intentions were with me, what our friendship was to him, what this relationship is with this girl, he's kind of had this pattern of kind of bullshit.
Yeah. And,
you know, and my therapist, of course, and I talked about it, and she asked me how I felt about it, how it felt, and what I was thinking at that time. You know, was he being genuine? Was he being sincere? And I kind of told her, it's like, you know, No. My gut feeling is telling me that there's something off about it. There's something insincere here.
Yeah.
And kind of icky. Like, you know.
Yeah, it's scummy. It's gross.
Yeah. And, you know, usually your gut doesn't lie to you. Your intuition, whatever it is, whatever you believe, it doesn't lie to you. The little voice inside your head, that there was something weird going on here.
Yeah, he's a cochino.
I forgot that you were Mexican for a second.
Thanks.
No. But no, and he fucking is. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It hurt all over again. It was bullshit to see, like.
Well, I mean, I'll say, like, my reaction now with all that versus what it was at first, like, initially giving him the benefit of the doubt, blah, 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 is now it's like, maybe he was just full of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe he's just that dude.
Yeah.
Just that, yeah, insincere.
Well, and then, you know, and another improvement for me in this whole breakup process, you know, finding the shit that's wrong with me and correcting it, learning new behavior, is, I'm finally not just seeing in black and white. I'm seeing the gray area of it because, you know, I don't know. Maybe he found the love of his life with this girl. Right. You know, but being able to hold both, being able to, and my therapist thought this is really important, to, instead of just reacting or responding to a situation, being able to make a choice. Having choices in a situation.
Right.
You know, and of course my choice is to not talk to him anymore.
Well, and I think what you chose to do is much better than what you initially felt like you wanted to do.
Yeah.
Of course, it's night and day. I mean, going that pretty destructive route, and in some ways self-destructive route, would never have been a good idea.
No.
I think a lot of people, including myself, could understand that initial feeling like, fuck this, I'm burning it down, and I'm taking you with me. But you don't have to do that.
No. Well, and that's why I'm talking about it, because, you know, I mean, because there's multiple parts to this.
Yeah.
It's the initial story and how I handled it and why it's important, because...
It is.
Yeah, I mean, 4 months ago...
Might have done it.
I would have done it.
Yeah.
If it were Kenneth, I would have done it. You know, when I was in high school, I have done that kind of shit.
Yeah.
You know, when I was a teenager, through romantic relationships to family members, I did that shit.
Yeah.
You know, and I finally looked at it and I was like, I don't want to. And a good thing here is, like, I keep my integrity. I keep my self-respect. I'm making a clear choice and non-destructive choice about my life.
Right.
And yeah, my choice is to not be friends with him anymore and not talk to him.
Well, that's a good choice.
And I get to keep all of that stuff and talk about it in a healthy way.
Yeah. And I think that shows a lot of growth and maturity to not even touch upon that route.
Yeah.
To just go the other way and just move on in some way. Essentially just move on, which is huge.
Yeah. Because, like I said, 4 months ago, I would have done that.
Would have just
if it were Kenneth,
ripped it apart.
Yeah, if it were Kenneth, and I mean, that's kind of what led to our breakup in the first place, is having a big blowout. Just being angry and impulsive and self-destructive. You know, telling him to block me when that's the opposite of what I want. You know, that's what he did. So it proves to me that I'm starting to improve on my behavior. Some of the behaviors that have caused me so much problems in the past, from, you know, when I was a teenager, a young adult, till now, that I'm finally, like, correcting.
Breaking cycles.
Yeah. I mean, it's still, I mean, I think I of course, like, get that way a little bit, you know, all the time in different situations. You know, I've felt it during this whole breakup with Kenneth, of wanting to do petty shit just to be self-destructive or be destructive to him or hurt him in some way. And I just kind of find myself just like, no, you know, I don't want to do that. You don't want to do that if I'm talking to myself.
Right.
And so, you know, I don't know, like, it's kind of a good thing. As sucky as it is, and as much as, like, it hurt me, it's kind of a good thing, because it shows me that I'm doing the work.
Yeah.
Like, I saw what was wrong in my relationship with Kenneth. I'm working on it, and here's the result. Here's what it is. This is what it means.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to go through, like, a really difficult situation and then finally be like, no, like, that's the work that I've been doing. That's the progress.
Yeah. That's pretty huge. I agree. I think that says a lot. And if this solely happened, the only reason for it to happen was to show you that, then there was meaning in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was meaning in it, and it's always easier to destroy as opposed to build. You know what I mean? And it's always easier to take that petty route. It's always easier to take the destructive route or whatever it is. It's just easier to be negative and to destroy. But there's so much more you can learn from not doing that.
Yeah.
And there's, like you said, you keep your integrity. You know what I mean? You keep all those important things. You know, your integrity and yourself, essentially. You know what I mean? Your self-respect.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
I mean? You didn't go that route, and you can say that and be proud of it. And that says a lot. Because it's not easy for people to do that, obviously. And people do that all the time, relationship or otherwise.
Yeah.
And it's good you're learning now when you're doing it now.
Yeah. I mean, it just shows me that the progress is happening. That I still sometimes I feel like I'm not making any progress, especially when I have like an off day or a bad day where I just, I still feel all the stuff that I've been feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But when stuff like this happens, it does show me that I'm doing the work. I'm healing. I'm healing past cycles, and I don't want to be the same person that I was 4 months ago.
Right.
That I was a year ago.
Right.
And it's possible to come out of everything and heal.
That's a good lesson.
Yeah.
So, if we can, I kind of want to break this down a little bit.
Yeah.
In terms of the conversation that happened, and in some way, like, what to do and what not to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because the whole thing kind of, what bothers me is, and it's reflective in a lot of things you see, and I think women have to deal with it the most, but, just these shitty messages and things that people get, from other people. And so let's break it down a little bit. So we start with, hey, I really like you, or I think you're very attractive, whatever you said.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, well, that's not bad. That's not a bad thing to hear. I really like you too. You know what I mean? And then it goes to, you know what else? I'm jerking off to you right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
if it was like a video, it's like, that's where we pause it. Okay, so
let's
how
go
could we have
over
done
it.
this? Let's go over this. How could we have done this better? And it's just like, for me, it's like I get if you're horny or like whatever, but like, in what part of your brain do you decide, hey, this is okay to say this to someone else?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, and you have to think about the people that sometimes are getting these messages. I mean, he knew all about the breakup.
Yeah.
He had to have known that I was a little emotionally vulnerable.
Right.
So he's telling someone, and he can already, again, tell I'm sensitive, tell I'm going through a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So he decides to do that to an emotionally vulnerable person.
Yeah. And that's, again, and just another reason why it's horrible. Because in my head, it's like, at what point do you decide, hey, I'm going to do this?
Yeah, I'm going to do this to this person.
Yeah. Well, and to this person, but in general to a person.
Well,
you know what I mean? It just makes it so weird to me without having that established prior to just blatantly be like, hey, I'm jerking off to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I can't picture myself ever doing that to someone who hasn't beforehand explicitly said that this is okay. Like, that was already established. If it had never been established, it would be so, I feel like, so weird and rude for me to do that to someone.
Well, you're a decent human being.
I'm a chivalrous guy.
Yes, you are.
What can I say? Call me old fashioned. I don't text girls randomly and say I'm jerking off to them. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's maybe I'm behind the times.
Something not to do. I mean, yeah, like don't tell someone that unless you guys have already established that that's what you want.
This is a thing, right? It's lost on me a little bit, and I think part of it is things we've talked about before, and things we've come across, online especially. People can be very selfish. It's very in the moment. This is what I want, and I think that's kind of people in general. But God save the horny man. You know what I mean? Like that is the worst thing that could happen to someone for a lot of reasons. And the women and other men who have to deal with it, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I apologize. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there is another human being at the end of this. At the end of this message, you're sending this to another person who has feelings and thoughts and wants and needs that don't reflect yours more than likely. But just because in that moment, that's what you want. This is what I'm feeling. I need this. You can do that and affect them however you please. It just seems so rude, so thoughtless, so selfish.
Yeah.
And I mean, talking to friends and conversation is very important to me. The way I text is important, and I feel bad when, like, I feel like, oh shit, I talked about myself too much there. I didn't even ask them a question. You know what I mean? Like, that alone makes me feel bad. Because it's important to me to. I would hope to think I'm a good texter, a good conversation guy. I pride myself in that, and I generally love like long texts and like, you know what I mean? Oh, it makes my heart happy. Like, just tell me everything. You know what I mean? And let's tell each other everything. And I'm gonna ask you questions, and that whole thing. And I feel bad alone when I feel like, oh shit, I talked about myself too much. I didn't even ask them a question.
Well, and this even like we can go back further with that because. I mean, that's how we started our relationship, texting.
Yeah, you and I had nothing but text messages, and way back in 2009, 2010, I mean, that's all we had. And there are times like we would text each other a lot, right?
And that's how we would have our main conversations, even on the phone. I mean, and this is just kind of like lovey-dovey stuff, but we would talk for a long time about just about everything.
Yeah, and that's I feel like I've always liked doing that, but maybe that's also why, especially now, it's so important to me. So it just seems so backwards to use it. It's like a tool, as opposed to like I don't know. You know what I mean?
Like genuine feelings.
Yeah, it's like throwing a book as opposed to reading it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just like, like ramming through it it's like breaking down a door as opposed to unlocking it. You know what I mean? And like taking that time to be like, hey, how are you doing? I want to genuinely know you. Or being, hey, you're really attractive. I'm jerking off to you right now. You know what I mean? I feel like there could be an etiquette to that. And correct me if I'm wrong. If he would have just kept talking to you and keeping that going, and without doing that at some point, would that have been a thing? Maybe?
I don't know. I mean, maybe.
I mean? Like, it's like, dude, you know what I mean? Like, it just seems so backwards. Yeah. That's all I can say.
Well, and I told him that at some point, like in the, the first time this happened, where, I'm just like, this just seems kind of weird. It seems kind of like backwards. And I think I said that word because, like, you don't want anything exclusive, but you want to sext.
Right.
And he was just like, well, if you think that, you think that.
So
like,
he had no answer to that. Wow. And I think that says a lot too. Like I said, I know a million people, especially women, deal with this all the damn time.
Oh, the internet is the worst.
Yeah. But just having access to the internet, because even if it's not a stranger from the internet, it's that fucking dude who you haven't spoke to in months or whatever, randomly like messaging you. It's the you up meme. You know what I mean? Like that whole thing where it's like just a single text asking you up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's basically what it is. It's like
that's what he did.
Yeah, basically that's what he did and what so many people do. And it's like people never consider that there's another person on the end of this.
Yeah.
It's an end to their own means. And whatever that means. And however it affects someone, so be it. You know what I mean? I'm going to throw this rock and wherever it lands, it lands. I just want to make sure I get off. You know what I mean? Or I get what I want. And it's unfortunate that we treat each other this way. And I think in some way we find it easier to treat each other this way because we're behind a screen. So we're either completely anonymous because we're some stranger on the internet, or we know each other, but there's still that barrier between.
Yeah.
So you can kind of say what you want and do what you want. And unfortunately, so many women who have to deal with this are so nice enough that it'll happen, of course they'll decline or whatever, but they'll pretend like it never happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like just continue like this dude is not a jerk or a pervert.
Yeah. And that's, kind of what I did, in the situation. But going off some advice, I had already thought that, well, maybe this isn't a red flag moment. Mm-hmm. Like we already previously said, give him the benefit of the doubt and kind of move on with it.
Right.
Keep going.
Right.
This isn't a big deal. And from his pattern of behavior,
it was
a clear
thing.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a good suggestion maybe. Don't let anyone decide how you should feel. If something happens and you feel uncomfortable, then you feel uncomfortable. Leave it at that. If you didn't like it, you didn't like it. Don't let them convince you otherwise. You know better. And like you said earlier, go on that gut feeling. If that wasn't right, that wasn't right. Move on. You know what I mean? Or move away, or don't be ashamed in not talking to them. You see horror stories that happen every day. I go on Reddit and I go on cringe pics, and it's just cringy messages, mostly from guys to girls, where it's just like, or I go on Reddit on nice guys, and it's like cringy messages from guys to girls, where it's like, they say one thing, the girl doesn't respond, or blah blah blah, and then they're like, okay, fuck you, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And it's just like, this is how people act. This is what people do. And for as many as you see, stories online, there's a million more you don't.
Yep.
And there's a million more girls who feel scared to say anything. You know what I mean? I think in some weird way, some girls think in their head that they're supposed to, if not go along with it, they're supposed to act like it didn't happen. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're supposed to be compliant to it. And that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Because when it comes down to it, it's human beings with human beings. And we should treat each other all on the same level and with the same respect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I get that.
when I go on those Reddit things, sometimes I go on those just to be just to remind myself what I should never do.
Yeah.
Don't ever act like that. Don't ever do this. Please don't do that. You see this? Do the opposite of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, I can say, I understand the impulsivity to want to message someone. Or if you haven't heard from someone in this amount of time, wanting to send something else. Hey, I still exist, right? I still exist. But a lot of that is your own insecurity. You know what I mean? That's the person's own insecurity. And that's something that you have to fix and check and work on,
Yeah.
And in some way, I'll admit it. I understand the impulsivity, especially when you're that horny to want to do something stupid like that. But if you're a decent human being, you won't do it. You know what I mean? You won't do it. The thought of how this might affect someone else or what it would do is enough for me to be like, no, I'm not gonna do that. You know,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna. I'm not gonna do that. You know what I mean? I'm not about to describe. No, stop there. I'm stopping myself.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm not gonna do that. You know what
I mean, it makes sense, and as a girl, as a woman, it's like I'm not gonna do that either.
Right, because facts are a majority of the people who have to deal with this are women.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean men don't have to deal with this from other men and from women too. Because I'm sure just as much as there's shitty dudes out there, there's probably shitty women out there too.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's just how it is, And what it comes down to is it's just a human thing. It's a human being thing. And it's about treating each other with respect.
Yeah.
And kindness. And that's it.
I hope that there are people out there who will do that.
Yeah.
And who see that in a sense, they're kind of hurting people.
Yeah.
But I don't think that the internet's going to learn that.
Well, definitely.
Anytime soon.
It's going to be hard enough for just strangers that you know. People that you know that you're not even, but you're not really in touch with doing that. They're going to, you know what I mean? Because even they do that. It's going to be hard enough for them to stop doing that.
Yeah.
But complete strangers on the internet, it might be near impossible.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate, but...
Well, and, you and I have had our, recently, we're not directly looking for people to date right now. And like I mentioned, I'm not ready for a relationship. I won't be ready until I meet that person. But we've kind of been putting ourselves out there a little bit, just kind of seeing what...
nice.
Right, seeing what the community is like, and we kind of have to go out, into the internet now, because as far as we know, the polyamory community in Las Cruces, New Mexico is really small or non-existent.
Yeah.
So we kind of have to go out into the internet to maybe find people,
right?
Even just people to talk to and
just
groups.
People who might understand.
Yeah, but I'm finding a lot of creeps. And a lot of weirdos. A lot of people that will talk for 3 messages and then stop.
Yeah.
Or won't respond at all.
Yeah. And we've had that experience with this as far as polyamory goes, but just in general too, trying to find a friend. Oh, hey, we have such and such in common. You like video games? I like video games. Let's talk.
Right.
And if it's online in that sense, even that's hard.
Yeah.
Even that's 3 messages and it's over. So many people are in it for that moment. They just needed something in that moment. They just needed someone to talk to for those couple hours. And then, then they were fulfilled somewhere else type of thing.
Yeah.
And in certain cases when it's trying to find someone to date, a lot of people are I just needed to get off and then I'm good. Which luckily I haven't had to deal with that, but I know that happens. Clearly that's what happens, and I don't know what that means for us. I maybe it's the community around us. A lot of people here don't understand polyamory or just wouldn't want to be in that type of relationship.
Well, it's understandable,
and that's fine.
Polyamory is
I'm not talking shit, or it's not bad for them. I understand it.
Yeah.
But that's just all the more reason why we won't be with someone. I won't be with someone. You won't be with someone.
Yeah.
And so it's well, do we go somewhere where more people are willing to understand it? Like you said, do we go online? Then you go online and there's all these creeps, or these people who just don't understand, or who won't talk to you, or whatever. So it's what do you do?
Yeah. Well, I think for me personally, after, this whole thing with my friend, meeting a bunch of weirdos online, I don't want to go, I deleted, I had one more profile, which again was very personal and private. I deleted that because again, I was just getting nowhere. Of course, a few months ago, I deleted the website or my profile on the website that Kenneth and I met on. I think I'm done for now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still always going to be open to meeting new people and new people in the polyamorous community. And, once I am fully, over everything and I feel like safe enough to put myself out there where I can deal with all the weirdos and the possibility of getting hurt again, whether it's like Kenneth kind of hurt or it's, this other friend kind of hurt.
Right.
But once I'm strong enough and I feel like I can handle that, I'm not opposed to it. But right now, in this time, it's like, I think I'm done.
Right. I guess, that makes sense. Definitely. And maybe I'm somewhere in between that. I feel like I'm more willing to go out and, well, not literally go out, but to like put myself out there. But it's in some way the same results. And
yeah,
I'm completely and totally open finally, without my own bullshit, without self-destruction or self-sabotage. I'm completely ready to be in that place. But it's funny that when I'm like, I'm completely ready, there's nothing. Yeah. It's like, yeah.
Yep.
It's like your friends out playing and your parents making you do chores first, and then you come out to play and then it's over.
Yeah.
They're gone or something. It's like, I'm ready, guys. Oh, okay. I guess I'll just go back inside. Oh.
Go help my mom in the kitchen.
Yeah, cool. And
yeah, I mean, I understand that. And
not that maybe there is someone out there and we just haven't gotten to that point yet, or something like that. But I hope we do.
I hope we do too.
Yeah,
I mean, you still have yet to have a full relationship with someone. At least I have experienced that, and I know what it's like, and I enjoyed it. It brought us closer.
Yeah.
It brought me closer with another human that I enjoyed their company.
Yeah.
And I don't know. You and I have our own theories about kind of that kind of thing. I think a little bit, it's like I do really, really need to heal from all of this before, like, setting out again, because I think that's holding me back a little bit, too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm kind of attracting the creeps myself.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm being a little weird.
Like, so, what are you saying? Like, it's where you're looking or what you're looking for that might be attracting you?
I mean, I just think, like, I don't know,
just
like the vibe, like the vibe that I'm kind of putting out there is attracting creeps and stuff.
Okay.
And that, it's like right now, I really need to focus on myself, continue focusing on the things that I'm doing and what we're doing. And, there's projects that I need to get done. And
yeah. There's always real life you can focus on.
Yeah, yourself and your life and your
all
world.
That bullshit.
Well, Christmas is coming.
Christmas
quickly.
is coming.
Can you believe that it's going to be Thanksgiving in like 2 weeks? And when this comes out...
Don't say that, please.
And when this comes out, it'll be even closer.
It's too quick.
But, like, we've had to start working on...
It's here too quick, and it's gone too quick.
Yeah.
And I hate that.
But we've had to start working on our Christmas presents. We're doing homemade this year. Oh, it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, but it's nice. It's, like, more heartfelt and more creative and more, like, I don't know, just more thoughtful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, I
mean, don't get me wrong. When I have the money, I'm going to just throw it at everyone. Like, I won't care.
$100.
Yeah, I won't care at all. But crafting something is always nice.
Yeah. So, I mean, focusing... I am the most happy, and I find that I'm more happy when I'm focusing on the things that I love, the things that I want to do, watching movies, playing video games, working on my projects, working on sewing projects, and my crafting and painting.
Yeah.
And reading.
Yeah.
And for now, it's like, until I'm ready to put myself completely back out there and go back on and, really power through all these weirdos and these creeps that we're getting online to maybe find someone again. It's like, I'm perfectly happy focusing on myself.
And in some way, that's the point, right? Like, if you surround yourself with things you love and you continue to do things you love, in some way, self-care. If you take care of yourself, then you'll be able to take care of everyone else. A wise woman once told me that. And that's the point, right? Like, if you have that vibe and you keep going and you're surrounded by this love and things you're doing and this positivity, if that's what's radiating out there, maybe that's what you'll be getting back. And then you'll have the people...
I mean, maybe it's a little off subject, but I mean, you and I have kind of talked about this. And recently, like, it's brought up some interesting conversations with you and me where we're talking about the law of attraction. And now, like... We've talked about religion, we've talked about spirituality a little bit. We can always talk about it more and again. But you and I always believe, in some spirituality. And we talk about, the ideas that not everything is coincidence. Sometimes, there can be a sort of magic or, no, we don't believe that, if you wish for something, it's just going to automatically happen. But when I was reading some of those articles and talking to you about them, what you put out there comes back. Mm-hmm. And what I believe in, the spirituality that I believe in, and, I believe in Wicca, and I kind of follow some Native American stuff too, because I'm Native American. I believe in karma. I believe in the threefold law. Whatever you put out in the world comes back to you times 3. If you're a bad person, bad things can happen to you. If you do bad things will happen to you. And we really believe in that. And I kind of think that, that mindset, feeling negative about yourself, about your life, about your world, you put that out there. And maybe even if you're not doing it directly, like you're not being a jerk or a creep on the internet, but you just kind of like... have a negativity, you're putting that out there in the world, it's coming back to you. Yeah. And so that's kind of how I feel about it too. And the law of attraction is kind of it's kind of a weird, like, hippie, like, metaphysical, like new agey kind of thing, but right. I really believe that there is, like, right. forces out there.
Yeah, I understand that there can be some hokum, attached to that, but I feel like it makes sense. You know what I mean? What you give, what you get. You know what I mean? Or you get what you give. One of those.
Whatever.
Well, whichever one it is. I'm no scholar, but
we're trying to be.
and that just makes sense. You know what I mean? There is something more than just logic. It's for the same reason we'll never have just robot doctors. You know what I mean? Because pure logic doesn't fix everything. There's a connection between another human and a human being and another human. There's that matters. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And this is part of some of the stuff we talked about.
As far as that connection and empathy and understanding and feeling, pure logic will never win. You know what I mean? Pure reality, will never win. There's more to it than that. Yeah. And so why wouldn't you, if you surrounded yourself by wonderful, positive things, why wouldn't that just continue and progress? Mm-hmm. Same with your thoughts. If that's what you had inside, why wouldn't it be outside? You know what I mean? And there's definitely validity to that, and that's the whole point. Yeah. Surrounding yourself with that, doing those things, and staying positive, even as dog shit life can be. I mean, doing those things and watching it grow and come back. I feel like you said, we were talking about it, and I said, I feel like at this point I have no choice but to be positive. It's all I have. You know what I mean? Like, it's my last ditch effort. Like, I gotta do something. I'm gonna be positive because it's all I have. And
yeah, I mean, in the end, it's like, well, I mean, we have a lot more than just positivity. You and I have a good life.
Definitely. Even when things are hard, we have a good life. But in the end, it's better than being negative. And why wouldn't negativity attract negativity? You can look at life like everything happens to me, or you can look at life like everything happens because of me type of thing. You know what I mean? Like, you can look at life and say nothing bad happens to me because everything that happens to me, I learn from. Because everything that happens to me, I grow. Even if it's hard, even if it sucks, you know what I mean? Yeah. And you can fix it. You're in control.
Yeah.
For the most part, you're in control and you can fix it. And at the very least, you can cultivate these wonderful things and surround yourself with them and watch them grow and watch it come back. And I guess that's the point.
Yeah.
So hear me now. I'm putting all my positivity out there. You too?
Yeah. I mean, I am. You know, personally, you know, when it comes to me, you know, I'm trying so hard to be positive and put that vibe out.
It's not
there.
easy.
It's really hard. And, you know, I mean, I do have a silly hope, but it's kind of hope that keeps me going. I'm trying to not make it a burden that, you know, Kenneth and I will find each other someday. That, you know, we'll cross paths again. But as long as I'm stuck in negativity and it does eventually, like, keep me from progressing, you know, that's not going to happen. But, you know, even if that never does happen, by the time that, you know, I've done all this work and I've been this far, something else could have come to me. You know, that next person that I'm meant to be with, or the person that I am meant to be with to bring into our polyamorous, you know, little family that we want to make, you know, it's like I will have done all the work. I'll be ready for it. Right. It'll all be there.
Yeah, exactly. And shit, well, what else do you need? If that was the point and that's the outcome, then perfect.
I mean, because I think for a long time, I think for a while, probably for a very long time, I'll always have that hope about Kenneth. I'll always have that hope that we'll find each other again. But I'm not waiting for that. I'm not relying on that solely. Right. You know, in the end, it's like I want to be happy. No matter what comes my way, what comes back to me, what doesn't, what new thing comes to me. You know, I want to be happy. I want to be healthy mentally and emotionally. And I want to put that out there. I want to put nothing, like, good vibes out there.
Yeah. What else, right?
Yeah.
Might as well. All right, so before we close this off, let's, to kind of go back to what we were talking about, let's make a list. Like, sexting etiquette. Like, what should you do and not do? You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Well, first of all, I mean, don't tell a girl that you like her and you think she's attractive if, like, you have no intentions of it not just being about sex.
Unless that was established
Unless
before.
it was established before.
Right. So that's fair.
You know, it's like only tell a girl you like her and you like how she looks if you have intentions of, I guess, kind of being romantic. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, because otherwise you're just kind of crushing your self-esteem. You're kind of using her.
Well, yeah. Definitely.
So I would say that's a big one. Don't do that.
What else? What's the policy? I would already assume to know the policy, but what's the policy on dick pics? Don't send them.
No.
Right?
Unless they're requested.
Unless it was asked for explicitly. Don't do it.
Like, hey, I want to see your penis.
Yeah, right. What about sexual questions? At what point is that established? You know what I mean? Like,
the only other experience I have is with Kenneth. Now at 2 weeks when we had started from when we started texting, he was like, he made like a joke. He said, "Hey, can I ask you something?" But it was a normal question. Right. And in my response was kind of like iffy because I was like, "Yeah, maybe." He was like, "Oh, wait, did you think I was going to ask you something dirty?" And then I was just like, "Yeah, I did."
And that's a good segue.
Yeah, and then he was like, "Well, would that be a problem?" And I was like, "No, you know what? No, it's not a problem. Ask me whatever you want."
The answer then, when you can ask those questions when it's also been established, right?
Yeah, I mean, so just
don't ask them off the bat.
Yeah, so I would say, I mean, give it some time.
Like, hey, I haven't heard from you in 3 months. What are you wearing, or whatever the fuck they're gonna ask? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I mean, get to know that person. If you feel like you have a solid relationship with them, ask them. Be like, hey, so can we? Yeah, maybe ask them.
Let's ask personal questions.
Yeah, dirty questions.
Yeah, would that be a way to establish it? Just straight up be like, hey, let's ask dirty questions, or is that weird?
I mean, it really depends on their relationship.
Right.
You know, if you guys are already kind of cutesy with each other, if you're already flirting a little bit, then I would think, yeah, maybe. Like, maybe that's something you can ask.
Right.
Before you even think about asking.
So,
a dirty
again,
question.
once things are established,
Yeah.
you know, what else? At what point is, like, is there ever a line with flirting? Or is that also kind of established by the relationship? You know what I mean? By who the friendship is with.
Yeah. I mean, because I definitely see it as something like you feel. And hopefully the other person is feeling it too. Right. But, I mean, I would say, like, just try something, like, simple. Just a compliment.
Right.
But make it kind of specific.
Is it safe to say that if there's a point where you're the only one flirting, then it's not mutual?
Then it's like...
Then don't do it.
But if you're, like, saying, like, ooh, I really like that, or I like that very specific thing about you, and they're like, oh, thank you. Like, I'm glad you noticed.
Right.
That it's like, yeah, like, that's mutual. That's like,
okay.
You know.
Well, or if they come back to you, not even in that same conversation, but at some point with a flirt, then it's like, oh, this is both ways.
Yeah, like, you're
so
flirting
essentially,
with each other.
if it's mutual, then it's okay. But if there's a point where it's like only you doing it, probably maybe just don't do it, right? Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, that's good. Smart. So what do we have so far? Dick pics? No.
No dick pics unless requested.
Dick pics, I mean, and for women too, no tit pics or any vagina pics or anything like that. We have to be all inclusive.
That's true.
Okay? So for just in general, no pictures like that unless it's explicitly like asked for or stated beforehand.
Yeah, requested.
Same with sexting in general.
Yeah.
None of that unless it's been requested or explicitly talked about beforehand.
Yeah.
Okay. Flirting, if it's mutual, it's okay. If you're the only one flirting, you probably shouldn't do it.
Yeah, you should probably like cut it.
Maybe stop
cut
doing
it
that.
off.
And this is sexting rules in general. So what else happens in sexting?
That's it.
Those are the main things, right?
Yeah.
Good things to follow, right? Like, hey, if it's established, you do it. If it's asked for, you do it. If it's not, you don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if it doesn't feel mutual, don't do it.
Yeah, if it's not mutual, don't do it.
Yeah.
You know? If it's not asked for, don't send it. If it's not asked for, don't say it.
Yeah. That's exactly how I feel. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with a little more communication.
Yeah.
Between you and your friend, your friends with benefits, your side
hopeful friend, or like whatever.
I was gonna say side chick, but no, that's wrong. Ugh. That's wrong. I'm sorry.
What's wrong with you?
We don't have time for that.
Next episode. That'll be our next 4 episodes. We're going to
What's
dive
wrong with rabbit?
Deeply into Last Word Apparel. What's wrong with rabbit?
Did you say Last Word Apparel?
Oh, fuck. Sorry.
It's been years since we've been Last Word Apparel.
It's still in my heart.
Yeah. It'll always be.
Last Word Podcast. What's wrong with rabbit?
Oh, boy. There is so much. And we can't get into all of that right now. Yeah, I'm not as messed up as... I guess, like, I kind of
joke about.
Yeah, as we joke about, I kind of making myself into, what is it called, a caricature?
Yeah.
Yeah, because, yeah, I am logical. I do think with my brain, and I think it's important for me. It's just, like, it just takes a second.
Mm-hmm. And here's what I'll say. Here's what I'll say to kind of close this out in some way. It's like, we all need to remember, especially when we're talking to other people in that capacity, that there is an other human being on the other side of this. Mm-hmm. On the other side of the screen, on the other side of this conversation, there's a human being with their own thoughts and feelings and wants and needs. And we have to remember that. And we have to think sometimes before we do anything, whatever it is, how is this going to affect someone else?
Yeah.
And am I only doing this for myself? And whatever the answers are to those, then maybe you need to correct what you're doing.
Yep.
You know, and with all that being said too, be positive. If you want some positive things in your life, try and be as positive as you can. Surround yourself with love and things you love. Take care of yourself, and hopefully that'll come back to you.
Yep.
Because
No matter what it is that you want to come to you.
That's what we're trying here. So we'll let you know how it works out. But please do, because it's so much better than the opposite. You want to say yes, and you want to build and not destroy. That's what you want to do. As people, that's what we should want to do.
Yeah.
That's what we should all want to do. And I'm here to remind you to just keep going. If you're going through hell, keep going. Or whatever that quote is. Point is, it's just you get what you give. And I truly believe that. The love you make is equal to the love you take. Or whatever. Another quote. I don't know. I'm throwing these out here. Look at me.
Let's see if one of them sticks.
I'm fucking amazing. Let's see if one of these sticks.
God.
So please remember that. Always remember that. And remember that we're always here for you too. The podcast Apple didn't want you to hear.
Is that going to be our sign off now?
Yeah, well, it should be our sign on. And I keep forgetting to say it.
Oh, damn it. See, we're still like, we're 9 podcasts in.
We're getting
10?
there. I think this is going to be the 9th episode.
We're still
10th?
learning, things that we should do, things that we need to do, the etiquette of a podcast. I think this is the first episode where we've said, like, comment, subscribe.
We actually may have to cut this whole part out. Because it probably won't flow well.
But, it's like, we're working on it. We're doing it. But this is the podcast Apple didn't want you to hear.
That's right. But remember those important things. And remember, we love you very much. We appreciate your support. I love you very much. Please take care of yourselves. Please take care of each other. We'll see you next time.
Later.